I'm thinking, how in the world am I going to get along with a girl from Texas? We talk different. I say, you guys. Ava says, y'all. We ever have children, they're going to say, y'all. Within a year after I graduate college, I get engaged. Students of Nyack, the scariest thing I ever did when I got engaged, I went to the dictionary and I looked up the word engaged. You know the actual definition of engaged in the dictionary reads, to do battle with the enemy. What? So I look up the word mother-in-law. Yeah, big star next to it says, see the word engaged. No, I'm just kidding. Ava and I are engaged. Within a year later, we're married. We're married for several years. We move in our first house. I'm in the house for about 2.5 months, married to Ava for 2.5 years. This one Thursday night, I travel 90 miles one way to coach in a football game. You gotta be kidding me, coaching in a high school football game 90 miles one way to top it off? I'm coaching high school football in front of 20,000 fans. 20,000 people would come to a high school football game in Texas, not like Brooklyn, New York. I played my high school football in Brooklyn in front of 20 fans. And they were faithful. Yeah, that's right, when our games in Brooklyn were over, our fans always came on the field to beat up our opponents. I know some of you guys play football, you think you're tough. Let me tell you how tough my high school football team was in Brooklyn. On defense, we played no games. As soon as we sacked the quarterback, we went in the stands and sacked his family. We got to the room to I get home this Thursday night, I walk in the kitchen, Ava greets me, I look over her shoulder. There on the table, my second love of life, a big bowl of pasta. I'm Italian on my dad's side. I'm Swedish on my mom's side. You're looking at the original Swedish meatball, just so you know. For being Italian, for Brooklyn, I promise you I have no family in the mafia. Number two, I feel sorry for all these beautiful people sitting in front of me. Why? For the last 9 minutes, they've been experiencing it like all Italians from Brooklyn. I spit when I talk. This girl's going, I know. And number three, I fulfill the major criteria of being Italian. For Brooklyn, cross my heart, I promise you, I really do have a cousin, Vinny. Just so you guys know that. Ava and I finish eating, she talks to me about two things. One, can we go Thanksgiving shopping on Saturday? Because your family's coming from New York to Texas for Thanksgiving. I agree with Ava, I watch a little more television. 20 minutes later, I crawl into bed next to her, kiss her on the cheek, tell her I love her. She mumbles she loves me back. I roll over my back, and every young man and older man in this room will understand my excitement. I'm laying in bed next to my beautiful wife alone at night. There's moonlight shining in from the window behind me, shining on the ceiling. Ladies, I know you understand this. No matter what age we are as men, we always are still little boys at heart. So as a young man, being married for 2.5 years, laying next to my beautiful wife alone in bed at night, I know what's important to me. Forget the romance. I'm a man. I throw up both of my hands and make animal figures on the ceiling. After my last who knows what, I check on Ava. She's out like a light. I close my eyes. The next thing I know, I wake up approximately an hour later. Instead of being in my bed in my bedroom, I'm sitting in the dining room window, which is the next room over. Dining room window, middle of the night, looking for more pasta. 3 bowls were not enough. Starting on breakfast at 12:30 in the morning. Sleepwalking, I get off the ledge. I take about a step forward, I bang into something. I reach out to touch what I bang into, it's hot to the touch. There's a haze, fog, smoke all around me. And to the right is a very, very bright light, so I'm thinking that moonlight is shining in through the living room window. Students, before I continue with my story, I need to take a sidetrack here for just a moment. Because I need you to understand one very simple thing before I continue with my story. My goal is when you walk out the doors today that every person in this room, no matter what age you are, you will understand how much you matter and how much value you have as a human being, number one. Number two, that you will understand the power of every single moment of your life and my life, and every decision that you and I make not only impacts ourselves and our future, but impacts the life of other people. So before I continue with my story, let me tell you a quick story about a girl named Jackie that I just met not too long ago in Baltimore, Maryland. This one particular school, I do 3 high school assemblies, 3,000 students. I won't have a chance to do this today in your school, but one of my favorite things to do is to go out and hang out in the cafeteria during lunch period with students, because I get bombarded by students who want to talk to me. I love doing it. This one particular school, I did 3 assemblies. The very first lunch period, they have 5 lunch periods. Each lunch period had close to 600 students, especially the first few. I'm in the very first lunch period. There's cafeteria tables lined up in this huge cafeteria. 2 tables would come together as one, and you could have, I don't know, up to 12, 15, 14 people at a table. That's how big these tables were. This happened to be similar to your school. It was a mixed race school. I pick up my head the very first lunch period. From here to the first row of students is the very first table. I'm signing books. I'm talking to students. Right here in front of me is a young student. He happens to be wearing a baseball cap. The cap is pulled all the way down to the brow of his head, and he's looking straight down. And I watch this boy, because I'm intrigued. For almost 5 minutes, I keep on glancing at him. He will not pick up his head as he's eating his lunch. Not for a moment. He's drinking his drink, eating his food, and he's looking straight down at the table. Down from him, 5 African-American girls eating their lunch, joking, laughing, having the time of their life. You're going to learn one thing about Bobby Petrocelli. When I was a teacher, when I was a coach at a guidance counselor, the number one thing I never tolerated is somebody else picking or bullying or humiliating other people. I never tolerate that. I have no use for that. Even today, I'll walk into restaurants and I see people eating by themselves, and I'll come and invite them to come and chill and hang with me. Because I never want somebody to feel isolated or alone. The number one fear that every person in this world has is the fear of rejection. And nobody wants to be rejected. And sometimes the fear of being rejected will drive us to do things that maybe we shouldn't do just not to feel rejected. So I get up and I start to approach this boy because I'm going to invite him to come sit with me. And I realize the reason why he won't pick up his head, he's the only person in that cafeteria out of about 600 people that's eating lunch by himself. So I go approach him and want to come sit with me. The moment I start to walk to him, I stop. One of the 5 African-American girls gets up and walks towards him. She bends down and she looks at him and she goes, "Hello! What's your name?" And when he peeks over the brim of his cap, this 50-year-old man stood in the middle of a cafeteria in front of 600 kids, and I started to cry like a baby because I realized how cruel people can be. And when he opened his mouth to respond back to Jackie, and you need to understand, I don't say this ever to make fun of another person. I say this to make a point. And he looks up over the brim of his cap and he goes, "My name is John." And Jackie goes, "Hey, John, you don't have to sit by yourself anymore. Why don't you come and hang and have lunch with me and my friend?" And John kicks his head back and goes, You want me to come and have lunch? Yeah, come on, John. John grabs his stuff. He runs to the other side. He plops himself down around these 5 girls. He pulls off his baseball cap. I watched John for the last 20 minutes of lunch. I promise you, students in NIAC, there's a whole new boy. His cap is off. He's smiling. He's joking. He's laughing for 3 reasons. 1, he's not alone. Number 2, somebody has helped him to feel that he matters. And number 3, he's the only boy in that cafeteria with 5 beautiful girls all to himself. Why? Because one precious girl didn't give a flying leap about skin color, race, nationality, religion. She saw another human being that wanted to be treated the way she wants to be treated, and she understood it takes one moment to pour into the life